So yesterday class we did these awesome boxes where we drew a square, made it 6 by 6. Some of you made yours bigger or smaller. And then we also drew a square behind this first one. Now how we did that one was a little bit challenging, but I made a video and you can watch that, and that's in the assignment link. So now what we're going to do is learn how to draw like windows in here. Now mine is done in colored pencil, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging for us to see everything. So if I wanted to make a lid here, let me zoom in. Excellent. I want to make it look like there is a lid on top of this box and it is opening. So I am going to draw my first line continuing from this box. And since this is 3 wide, my lid should probably be 3 wide as well, because I know that this box is, 3 by 3. Now I don't go up 3 on this one, do I? For 1 point perspective, we are going to take the top of this lid here and we are going to draw it to the vanishing point. So again, I have to look above my ruler, make sure I'm holding it pretty well. I'm going to draw a very light line right here. That is my connecting line. So this is going to be the angle. That's why I had it going from the top of this lid to the vanishing point, so I know what angle it's going to be at. So it's almost up to here. So then from this back corner of the wall, I'm working on this one here, I would extend this. Now I'm going to color it in so it makes some sense to y'all. And I'm going to connect it from this angle to that bottom of my box right there. So I would like you all to draw a lid on one of yours. You probably want to make it match mine. And I'm going to darken these so it makes more sense. So one of my boxes is just going to be a straight up box. Some of you already added your shading to it, right? I'm going to make this one solid with a lid, so it makes some sense to you. Remember to keep your pencil sharp while you are doing measurements and angles. If you would like to use the colored pencils that I just gave you, you sure can. These colored pencils are Prismacolored pencils, so don't use them like a drumstick. Don't bang on them. The insides will break and you will hate how it sounds. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this wall look darker. Some of you already did some shading on yours. You can keep it like that. What I do want you to do though is just this lid and then add some shading on it that you continued from last class. But if you haven't done any of that yet, we need to do this box. And this lid is going to be lighter since it is catching more light. And of course, all those lines would have been erased, correct? If I was actually doing a fancy drawing for our next project, that horizon line wouldn't be visible. And then I'm going to fill in this completely black so that you can see this is the inside of a box. That's how you do doors too. It can look like a door opening. All right, now if you are behind and you still have some boxes to do, that's fine. I would like you to follow along with this video or my demonstration as much as you can. But if you get stuck, just pause like yourself and then you can watch this later. But I do want you to pay attention to the stuff I'm doing so that it makes some sense. I don't see anybody on their phones, and if they're on their Chromebook, they're following along with the video from last class. So I want you to choose one of your cubes, your boxes, to give it a lid and to do some shading to it to make it look solid. So I have one wall that's like a medium dark. The inside is super duper dark. And then the front one's a medium light. And then my lid is pretty light in general, because it's catching the most light. Oh, I would have been able to see that line right there. I'm going to bring that back out with the colored pencil. I would technically be able to see this back wall right here. I just colored it all in, and you couldn't see that at all. Let me grab a white pencil to make a gray. There's a line right there that stands out. That back wall line to make it look even more three-dimensional. I almost missed that. That's an important line. So we can still now imagine what's inside the box. It might be Schrodinger's cat. It's a joke for the science. Yeah, okay, good. Got one science kid. You could just draw all of these with cats inside of them. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like it has windows. I'm going to just draw a couple of windows on here. Again, if you are like super lost, just watch what I'm doing first, and then this video will be posted to Canvas like within 10 minutes of the end of class, or before this video's over. Demo, blah. All right, I want to make a window right here in the front and then one on the side. So I need to have a nice parallel line. I should measure it. Yeah, I'm going to teach you good practices. I'm going to make my window wall like 1/4 of an inch thick. 1/4 of an inch means half of a half. Someone should have taught me that in high school. I always thought 1/4 just meant 25 cents. So I'm making a couple of dots to connect. And this will ensure that my lines are parallel and even. So I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch from the top line, the bottom line, the left line, and the right line. We do have to have good measuring practices if we want high levels of craftsmanship. So you really only need to do 2 dots that connect. If this is really hard for you to comprehend, I will come around and help you after I do this demonstration. So right now I've got a right angle, and then I'm going to do another measurement on this side here. I'm taking my 0 line, or the edge of the ruler. Some people's it's like right on the edge, but for most of us it says 0. And then I'm finding that second longest line before my 1/2 inch, and I am making a little tiny dash mark. And that dash mark, tick mark, I'm sure there's another word for it, is a way for me to measure that it is exactly 1/4 of an inch. And it doesn't have to be at the 0. One of my other tricks is I measure from the 1 in case sometimes the 0 is worn out. I can still find 1/4 of an inch as long as I'm going from like a whole number. So I have a perfect window now. Yeah, it's somewhat perfect. I'm going to shade that in so it looks more solid. I would love to thank all of you for being so like quiet and attentive while I'm giving this demonstration. And I just want to remind you again that if you're not following along very easily because you're very far in the back side of the room, this video will be posted soon. So right now I've got a little window on my box showing the inside line right here. I'm going to make that one really, really light. I'll mess around with that here in a minute. Now I'm going to make a window on this back side. This part's kind of challenging, especially if you don't have a box drawn. All right, I'm going to measure a line. I'm going to make it 1/4 inch again. So in order for your measurements to be accurate, having a sharp pencil again is the most helpful tip I can probably give you. If you are sitting in here, you're like, man, whenever I measure something, it just like sucks. It never works. Friend, it's probably because your pencil's not sharp. Maybe the ruler that you have is dull. You can't see your number marks easily. So I am going to do just a line right here. I'm not going to make it go all the way up or down yet. That one goes up a little bit too high, so it doesn't take up that whole line. Now from the bottom and from the top, I put little dots on there to help you see where I'm going. You might have already guessed where those lines are going to go to. When I'm line up my ruler and I want it to be going to my vanishing point. Remember that vanishing point is the tiniest dot that hits right here where your intersecting lines of your X and Y axis are. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up at the bottom of this little line that I just made. And I'm putting it to the vanishing point. And I'm going to have it come back here just a little bit. And then again, from the top of this line that I wanted to the vanishing point, tilt that. And again, look at how I'm holding my ruler. I'm holding it like an L shape. So this is going to start to do my window. And now it wouldn't quite be 1/4 inch because it's back a little bit farther, but wherever I want this line to stop, I can make it stop by just connecting a straight line in here that's parallel. Yes, this one right here. Yep. I'm not going to be picky about where you put these. I just wanted to show you, like, to make a perfect square, I would measure from all the sides. And all of my lines just have to be parallel when I'm making them vertical. When I'm making them diagonal, they just go to the vanishing point, and that's the trick with them. So I'm going to give it like a medium pressure here. So now we can see the inside of this. We can also see that back wall. And I'm going to color this back wall in completely black. I'm using a colored pencil. Feel free to use your colored pencils that I just gave you. They do erase, but only so much. They can only handle so much erasing. The reason why it's fun to use the colored pencils, so you can see how nice and smooth these are. Also, they really don't smear that much. That's why I didn't give you the 2B pencils, because they really smear. So even though I use that colored pencil, it can erase that line. And now I'm going to just draw a really silly light level of value on top of this box. Has a little bit of a value scale on it. It goes to the back. So for me, to show like the directions of the walls, I do hatching lines. This is also very helpful for when you can't really get a good amount of pressure changing with your pencil. Like if you only have a 6B pencil or a 2B pencil, and you can't show enough difference, I'm just using lines that are parallel, and this is showing the back side of the wall without me having to have like a heavy blending, so I'm still showing a difference between my value just by adding some hatching lines in there. And I was making this one very light too, because some light is coming in, so I probably shouldn't have made that back wall that dark, but I wanted to show you that that's the back side, and there was a reason why we drew that back side. But when you add a value scale in it, it's going to look more realistic, so it's not all the same value, making it just a little bit darker on one side of the wall so it fades out. This is going to make it look more 3D. Little value scales going from dark to light. Now I've got a box. Wow, now you have a box with a window in it. Glorious, glorious. I know you already did a lot on yours, so you're fine. Now I want to draw, it looks like a hole coming out of it. Or do I need to show you how to draw a box, a hole on the bottom, like a square? I'll do that too. I'll do that. So I hope I'm not getting too far ahead of you. Again, if you get behind, do not worry. I'll get you caught back up again. I'll leave that one here so we can see it. Let me zoom out. Oh, there goes my pencil sharpener. Cool. I do want to make it look like there's a hole on the bottom of this box, just to show you how you would do that. It would be a parallel line. And then from the edges of that line that I'm doing right here, they're going to go to the vanishing point. But I'm not going to go very far because I wanted to still like leave room for this opening to end. It's going to be a very narrow line right here. And then I would close that line off, and it would have to be parallel with the bottom of the box. And in order for me to get that, my pencil's going to have to be super duper sharp, because that's a very skinny line to get through, and you saw that my pencil was not very skinny right there. Now it's got a beautiful, glorious point. And this line is parallel and even. So now I got a window below, and I can still see the inside of the box. Let's shade along that edge. And before you would shade, if you are using graphite, you would erase these lines that I'm drawing over, like of the back side of my box and the inside of it. Unless you think you can disguise it really well if you're like drawing a very, really dark area. But I can't really erase mine because it's colored pencil. And then you could just make all of these boxes solid. I showed you how to do a front window, a side window. I did not show you how to do a top one, but it's the same exact thing where we would draw a line and have it go to the vanishing points and close it off, and then you would see the inside of it. So I think what I can do is just make these solid enough, just so you can see it. So you don't have to get rid of the inside of the box. There was a reason for you to do that so you can see the inside. I just wanted to show you that it is a three-dimensional object now. And this is how we shade. I went side to side, and then I'm going up and down as well. This is cross-hatching in a way. This is my lazy cross-hatching. I'm not actually doing tight lines. I'm just doing like loose swirls. And my pencil is staying down the whole time. I feel like I'm going to make like a door here. I'm making this too complicated. I want it to look like it's opening up, so I'm going to draw a line. Whoops, fell asleep. There we go. There. That's going to go to the vanishing point. But lightly to the vanishing point. I'm just going to finish up this one really quickly and then do something fun to that next box because I'm hitting 20 minutes in this video. Jeez. Didn't realize I've been talking so long. Okay, I'm just going to draw like a hole coming out of this one. So I'm going to draw an ellipse or an oval. It's like a really stretched out oval. You can do this as well. So then I would color in this backside of the box completely black. So it looks like you can see the inside of it. So you don't have to make everything a square. You could have like a perfect circle there in the middle. That's not a perfect circle, but I did my best. I just freehanded it. That's okay. So even though you color over some of your hard work, you still can see the inside of it, and that's the important part. We wanted it to be able to create depth and a space. Even though we weren't using it all, there are going to be times where it seems like what you're drawing is pointless because it just gets erased or drawn over, but that's to help us get accuracy. I'm going to make that look like a value scale so it has some depth to it. I'm not going to draw the inside of this one yet. Just going to leave it blank the way it is. Maybe there's a light on inside of it. Okay. That's it.